Hello students, this is Mrs. Thackeray with a short tutorial on Google Docs. I want to highlight some things I need you to know. You'll notice right up here I've written Rattlesnake Research Project in the place that usually, if I take that out of there, when you open it up, it usually just says untitled document. When you click on that, that is when you write what the title of your document is. So you want to make sure always that you have your document. Usually I have you include your name as well with that. And you want to make sure that you have that open. Then there's just some simple word processing tools that I want you to be aware of. Down here on the toolbar, the B is for bold, I italic, U if you want it underlined. This is your text color. This is if you're going to highlight. We often use the left align, center, right align buttons, as well as the spacing to switch to double spacing when we do our journal writes. And then of course then you have the bulleting, the bullets and the numbering if you have lists that you need to do. But another thing you need to know is that our district has purchased Read Write for a couple of years, and there's some tools in here that can really help you when you're writing. If you look right up here and you follow along with me, you'll see that this is to check spelling. This is predicting what you write. So if I click on predicting and I begin to type something like the snake, and you can see it starts to, in this area, give you some ideas about what maybe you would want to type next. And that's very helpful for us when we're not sure about spelling and such. So if I put the rattlesnake eats, you can see that it comes up with some ideas. And if I didn't know how to spell rats, then as I was typing, some ideas would come up for me about what I would need to type. And that's how the predictive speech works. If I needed a dictionary for rats, because that's the last thing that I typed, there is rats, and it tells me what a rat is, and it tells me that it's a noun, and that could help me as far as writing and figuring out what I need to write. This is a picture dictionary. That would help you if you wanted to see what something looked like. So if I highlight rattlesnake, and then look how it goes to rattlesnake, and there's no match found for that word, but that's okay because we have rattlesnakes. And we'll be able to hit play if I want to hear the sentence I wrote.
Rattlesnake.
And if I highlighted the whole sentence and then I hit play, it would play the whole sentence for me.
The rattlesnake eats rats.
That is for pausing. And then some of the other tools that come with it is that's a screenshot reader, an audio maker, a web search, that if you wanted to web search the fact that rattlesnakes eat rats, and it'll take you right out to the web. But and then of course it'll let you change your colors and do some other things, including letting you record reading, such as it'll open up in Fluency, and then you hit the record button, and as you read your story, it will record your story, the rattlesnake eats rats. When you're done, you hit the stop button, and you can hit play. And as you read your story, it will record your story, the rattlesnake eats rats. When you're done, you hit the stop button. Boys and girls, it's always good to listen to ourselves read, and all of those tools will help us to be better students. This area right here is where you change the font, and the one thing that you need to know is that when you're doing writing assignments for me, I prefer you to use Times New Roman 12, and we don't change fonts around and get fancy. However, I do projects where you are able to do those kind of things. You don't have to, if you look up here in the button here, if you are doing a project that I have not assigned to you, you will need to share that with me, and you would hit the share button. You would enter my email address, and it would help you by coming up with some ideas for my email address, and then you would give me permission to comment or view or edit, and then you would send that to me. Any assignment that I assign for you in Google, you do not need to share with me, because it automatically shares with me because I made the assignment to you. Now, there are some other interesting things with docs that will help us to be better researchers and more advanced researchers, and I want to take a few minutes to show those to you. So if you want to look at some basic features that are integrated in here that will help you with your research projects, and also it'll help you collaborate better with other students. And one of the first things that I wanted to talk about is the research feature. If we were doing our research project and your key idea was that rattlesnakes were dangerous and you were looking for explanation details to go with that, if you were to highlight that and right click it and go to explore, you would be able to see in this window over here some ideas from the web, images that would help you tell you why rattlesnakes are dangerous. So if you really quick went and looked at rattlesnake facts, you might find a reason why you say that rattlesnakes are dangerous, and why they're not dangerous by doing a little bit of reading. This particular article says that rattlesnake bites can be dangerous, but are very rarely fatal to humans, and so that's a good thing to know, and maybe that we should include in our project. So as we add that as a reason to our project, and then we would want to cite that we use this live science as part of our research, you can see that having access to that helps to find the things that we need to know that'll display on our sidebar that will help us search the information that we need to know to complete our assignment. And of course, you could also look for images to embed into your thing. Another thing is that we will use the collaborative function of making comments as we read and add to people's writing. And so if you were doing a peer edit and you didn't think rattlesnake was spelled correctly, or it needed something they needed to include, make sure you cite where you get that information, you can leave comments, and that helps us do collaborative writing and helps improve our writing as people are able to comment and look at what we. Another useful feature of Google Docs is the ability for students to correct their spelling and check for errors. So if you are not sure whether it's spelled right, you know if it's underlined in red that it's spelled incorrectly. And if you are able to right-click on it, it will give you a suggestion of what, or hover over it, it'll give you a suggestion of what they think it is. They're not always right, but it gives you a good idea about what maybe should be in that place of the word that you misspelled or spelled incorrectly. A lot of really helpful things in Google Docs are under the Tools bar, and you can see that as you go down under Tools, that's where your spelling and grammar checker is. And you want to make sure that it shows spelling suggestions and shows grammar suggestions is checked, so that you are able to have that work for you as you're writing. Also, word count can be important. A lot of times I want you to make sure you use a certain amount of words or not too many words, and that's where if you click on that, it'll give you your word count. So right now you can see that I've used 23 words in this paper, and if it's a 500-word essay, you're going to have to do a little bit of work. There is also tools such as a translate document, if you needed to translate it into another language, such as, let's just say Spanish. Say we have a Spanish student in our class that we wanted to be able to talk to. We could translate it into Spanish, and then we would get a translation document that would show you what the translated copy of Rattlesnake Research Project. And there it is, which is kind of fun to look at and play with. and can be a very valuable tool. But most of these things are found under Tool. You could do voice typing with my permission, where you click on voice typing and then you click to speak. Rattlesnakes bite and spew venom into their victim. You can see that you might have to do some correcting and working with that to get better, but that can be a very useful tool. Make sure you get my permission before you start using that, though, while you're in school in the classroom. You're always welcome to use it at home. Another tool that we'll be using when we're doing our animal reports is that you might want to insert things in. And you can see that when you click the insert button, you can insert a table, you can insert a drawing, and this is where we would insert a picture. We might also insert a video by using a URL, and we might also insert something from the drive. So another helpful tool for you to know how to use in Docs. One last useful tool I want to show you in Docs that makes it very user-friendly is that if you ever need to have it in a different format besides a doc format, such as if you go to File, Download As, you can see you have all these different ways that you can save it. I might tell you to save it as a PDF, or we might want to use it for a web page. We might also want to use it as a Microsoft Word doc for a certain reason, but if for any reason we need to download it as in a different file format, Docs makes it very easy for us to do that. And last but not least, probably the most important thing for you to know is that Docs saves in real time, so it doesn't wait for you to hit the save button to save what you've done. So if for some reason, as happens sometimes, you accidentally erase your entire document, like I just did on purpose, but you always can use the back button to bring it back to where you had left it, so that you don't lose all of your work. So really super important to utilize that, and to make sure that before you shut out of your project, that it looks exactly like you had it and wanted it to be, or use the back button or the forward button to return it to where it was when you're ready to quit the project for the day. All right, boys and girls, those are just a few things I wanted you to know about Docs and how they can help us be better researchers, and they can help us with our projects, and how Google has worked really hard to add a lot of fun things to it to make it easy for us and make us to be better writers and better students. Remember, keep working hard and have fun.